Hey there, language lovers and tech enthusiasts. This is Adal Gonzalez, and you're tuned in to Localize This, the show that breaks down the barriers of communication, one innovation at a time. You know, it's pretty wild how far we've come from the days of thumbing through dusty translation dictionaries. Today, we're living in an age where your glasses can translate conversations in real time, AI can help you chat with anyone around the world, and video games are teaching us about the art of translation itself. In today's episode, we're going on a journey through the latest and greatest in translation technology. We'll test drive Meta's ambitious new smart glasses, explore how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the way we communicate across languages, and even dive into how game developers are turning the complex world of translation into compelling gameplay. So, stick around. Whether you're a tech geek, a language enthusiast, or just someone who's curious about how we're breaking down language barriers in 2025, this episode is for you. Let me tell you about my fascinating experience with Meta's latest translation tech in their Ray-Ban smart glasses. These aren't your average shades. They're basically like having a personal interpreter perched right on your nose. Last month, Meta rolled out live translations for Spanish, French, and Italian. And I've got to say, it's pretty impressive when it works. Picture this. You're having a conversation with someone in Spanish, and their words get translated directly into your ears in real time. Plus, everything you say gets translated back to them. It's like that universal translator from Star Trek, except it's actually real and sitting on your face. But here's the thing. While it's cool, it's not quite the Babel fish from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy yet. When you're having a nice, calm conversation about, say, your favorite K-pop bands, it works like a charm. The translations kick in smoothly, and everything makes sense. But throw in some rapid-fire speech or long-winded explanations, and things get a bit messy. The glasses do try their best, though. They'll start translating mid-sentence if someone's been talking for too long, which can get pretty confusing. Kind of like when you're watching international news, and the interpreter is trying to keep up with a passionate politician. What really impressed me was how it handled Spanglish. You know how bilingual folks often mix languages mid-conversation? The glasses can actually keep up with that to a point. But throw in too much language switching, and it starts to get confused. Sometimes even repeating your own words back to you. And don't even get me started on slang. These glasses are like that straight-A student who only knows textbook Spanish. They'll translate everything literally. No manches becomes don't stain instead of no way. It's like watching your dad try to use teen slang. Technically correct, but completely missing the point. But hey, for basic tourist stuff like asking for directions or ordering food, these glasses could be a game changer. Just don't expect to use them to watch foreign movies or follow rapid-fire debate competitions. They're not quite there yet. The journey of translation technology is a wild ride that starts way back in ancient times. Imagine being in Mesopotamia around 2300 BC, where they were already creating clay tablets with word lists in multiple languages. Fast forward to 1467, and we got our first proper bilingual dictionary, a German-Latin masterpiece called Vocabularius ex quo. Talk about old school. But the real revolution kicked off in the 1950s when computers entered the chat. In 1954, IBM and Georgetown University pulled off what seemed like magic at the time. They got a computer to translate 250 Russian words into English. Sure, it was basic stuff about science and military terms, but it was mind-blowing for its time. Things got a bit quiet after that initial excitement, though. In fact, a 1966 government report basically said, yeah, don't get your hopes up about practical machine translation anytime soon. But one company, Systran, didn't get the memo. They kept pushing forward, even helping translate instructions between Russian and English for the Apollo-Soyuz space mission in 1975. The internet era brought us Babelfish in the late 90s, which could handle a whopping 150 words at a time. Google Translate didn't show up until 2006, but when it did, things started moving fast. By 2014, we had apps that could translate text just by pointing your phone camera at it. But the real game changer came in 2016 with neural machine translation. Instead of just translating word by word, these new AI systems started looking at entire passages and learning languages more like humans do. They don't need to memorize grammar rules. They just figure it out through exposure, kind of like how kids learn their first language. The funny thing is, even with all this amazing tech, translation still isn't perfect. But that's because language itself isn't perfect. Even humans speaking the same language sometimes misunderstand each other. I guess we can't expect our AI translators to be better at communication than we are. Let's dive into the fascinating world of translation technology's heavyweight champions, generative AI and neural machine translation. These two powerhouses are completely changing the game, but they each bring something different to the table. Think of neural machine translation as your super precise friend who always gets the details right. It's specifically designed to take text from one language and convert it accurately into another. The beauty of NMT is its laser focus on accuracy and context. It's like having a master translator who spent years studying both languages and knows exactly how to maintain the original meaning. On the flip side, we have generative AI, which is more like your creative writing buddy who can riff on any topic. It doesn't just translate, it can generate entirely new content, adapt tone, and even help with creative writing. It's the Swiss Army knife of language tools, capable of everything from translation to content creation. But here's where it gets interesting. Both these technologies have their quirks. NMT is amazing at accurate translations, but it can be a bit rigid. It might struggle when dealing with slang or colloquialisms that don't have direct translations. And if you throw it something outside its training domain, it might get a bit lost. Generative AI, while incredibly versatile, can sometimes get a bit too creative. It's like that friend who embellishes stories, great for creative writing, but maybe not ideal when you need a precise translation of your medical records or legal documents. The real magic happens when these technologies work together. Imagine combining NMT's precision with Gen AI's adaptability. You get translations that are not only accurate, but also feel natural and culturally appropriate. It's like having both a professional translator and a local guide helping you communicate. This combination is revolutionizing everything from international business to everyday travel. Whether you're negotiating a business deal in Tokyo or trying to order coffee in Paris, these technologies are making our world a little bit smaller and a lot more connected. In a fascinating twist, video games are now joining the translation technology revolution. And I've got to tell you about this incredible game called Chants of Sennar. It's essentially turned the whole process of language translation into a captivating puzzle game. Imagine being dropped into a world where you have to decipher multiple fictional languages. It's like being a linguistic detective. The game was originally developed in French and English, but here's where things get really interesting. When it came time to translate this game about translation into other languages, the developers faced a unique challenge. How do you localize a game that's fundamentally about the process of understanding foreign languages? The Russian translator Anna Kiseleva put it perfectly when she said it's more about capturing a translator's mindset than just dealing with invented languages. They had to carefully adapt the entire puzzle-solving process for each new language, considering different grammatical structures and language patterns. Take the Japanese version, for example. The localization team had to completely rethink their approach because Japanese sentence structure is so different from English. They focused on making the game accessible to beginners while maintaining the core puzzle elements that make the game engaging. One of the clever features in the game is how it mimics real translation work. You start by decoding individual symbols, then combine words, and finally piece together the meaning, just like actual translators do. Some of these fictional languages even have their own quirky grammar rules, like creating plurals by repeating symbols or using unusual word orders. What's particularly brilliant about Chants of Senna is how it demonstrates that translation isn't just about swapping one word for another. It's about understanding context, cultural nuances, and the way different languages structure thoughts. It's basically giving players a crash course in real-world translation challenges while they're having fun solving puzzles. Looking at the incredible progress we've made in translation technology, from basic dictionaries to AI-powered smart glasses, it's clear we're getting closer to breaking down language barriers than ever before. But we're not quite at Babelfish territory yet, folks. What we have now is a fascinating mix of tools, each with its own sweet spot. Whether it's Meta's smart glasses for basic travel conversations, neural machine translation for accuracy, or generative AI for more creative language tasks, they all have their place in our multilingual world. The key is understanding what these tools can and can't do. They're fantastic for helping us navigate foreign cities, read menus, or get the gist of a conversation. But they're not going to replace human translators anytime soon, especially when it comes to catching subtle cultural nuances or handling complex literary translations. As someone who regularly plays with these technologies, I can tell you they're absolutely worth embracing. Just remember to approach them with realistic expectations. Think of them as helpful assistants rather than perfect translators. We're living in an exciting time where language barriers are becoming more like speed bumps than walls, and that's something worth celebrating. So next time you're traveling abroad or chatting with someone who speaks a different language, don't be afraid to pull out these tools. They might not be perfect, but they're getting better every day, and they're already pretty amazing at helping us connect across languages. That's all for this episode of Localize This, the podcast that breaks down the barriers of communication, one innovation at a time. Catch you next time.